Welcome back to The Explainer. All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a topic that, well, it used to be stuck down in the IT department, but now it is front and center in the boardroom. We're talking about software licensing, and I'm going to show you how to think about it not just as some line item on a budget, but as a real strategic weapon. I love this quote because it just nails it. This isn't just about keeping the lawyers happy or taking a compliance box. No way. It's about flipping the script entirely, taking something that feels like a pure cost and turning it into a genuine engine for growth. All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick off with the why this is so strategic. Then we'll hit the core concepts, look at your licensing models, talk about the serious cost of getting it wrong, and finish up with an action plan you can actually use. Okay, first up, why is this so strategic? We're talking about taking licensing from being just another cost center to a real competitive advantage. So, how do we make that leap? Well, it really all starts with the bottom line. Check this out. For a business where software is a core part of the operation, getting your licensing right can boost your company's valuation by 20, even 30%. I mean, come on, that's a massive number. That's the kind of thing that makes everyone in the boardroom sit up and pay attention. So, how does it do that? It really boils down to three big things. First, it's your monetization strategy. It's how you turn your intellectual property into a steady, predictable stream of cash. Second, think of it as your business protection, your legal guardrails. And third, it's your strategic alignment tool. It helps you push for bigger goals, like grabbing more market share or keeping your customers happy. Okay, so to make these big strategic calls, we've got to speak the same language. Let's quickly get into the core concepts. I promise, no getting bogged down in confusing jargon. All right, this is probably the single most important idea to get your head around. A software license is not a sale. Let me say that again. You are not buying the software. Think of it like this. You're renting an apartment. You're not buying the building. You get permission to use it under very specific rules, but the owner, they still own the property. Let's really hammer this home. A normal product sale. Ownership transfers to you, simple. But with a software license, nope. Ownership stays right where it is. You get limited rights, and guess what? They can be revoked. And that control is exactly what makes licensing such a powerful strategic tool for the software provider. So, if we're all renting, then what are the lease options, right? Let's look at the fundamental models you can choose from. Think of it like a menu of strategic choices for your business. Okay, the first big decision you'll face is this: perpetual versus subscription. A perpetual license is that classic model. You pay a big fee one time upfront, and you can use the software forever. That's a capital expense, or CapEx. A subscription, on the other hand, is what we see everywhere now. It's a recurring fee, making it an operational expense, or OpEx. So really, it's a choice between cash flow management and long-term flexibility. Then you've got this choice. Do you license the person or the machine? A user-based license is tied to an individual. Perfect for today's world, right? Where everyone has a laptop, a tablet, a phone. A device-based license is tied to a specific machine. Think of a computer lab or a shared terminal on a factory floor. Your actual work environment is going to tell you which one makes sense. So here's a quick look at how these models stack up. You can see the key trade-offs pretty clearly. You've got perpetual with that big upfront cost, great for stable needs. You have subscription with its recurring costs, awesome for flexibility. And then there's consumption-based, which is all about paying for what you use, perfect for scaling up or down. The key takeaway? You have to pick the one that fits your financial strategy. Okay, we've talked about the strategic upside, but now we have to talk about the flip side, the dark side, if you will. What happens when you mess this up? And believe me, this isn't just a slap on the wrist. It's a huge governance issue with very real, very painful consequences. So why do you, as an executive, need to care so deeply about this? I mean, isn't this someone else's job? Well, no, because non-compliance puts the entire company at risk, and a lot of that risk is hidden, just waiting to blow up. The risk really breaks down into three main areas. First, there's the obvious financial risk, massive audit penalties, huge legal bills. Then you've got operational risk, your business literally grinding to a halt. And finally, there's reputational risk, the kind of brand damage that can take years to repair. Now, you might be thinking, we're probably fine. But look at this number. The typical large company is only 92% compliant. And 92% might sound pretty good, right? Like a B+ or an A-. But in the world of software licensing, anything under 95% is considered a major red flag. That little 8% gap, that's where the danger lives. And that's not even the whole story. The other side of this coin is just throwing money away. The typical company only uses 76% of the licenses they pay for. Think about that. That means nearly 1 out of every $4 you spend on software is for something nobody is even using. It's just sitting there collecting digital dust. We call that shelfware, and it is a huge, silent budget killer. So what does this all add up to in the real world? How bad can it get? Well, here's an example. $3.2 million. That's what one single compliance gap cost one company. That's not revenue. That's a check they had to write for penalties and fees. It's a pretty brutal reminder of just how high the stakes are. Okay, enough with the doom and gloom. We get it, the risks are huge. So let's pivot to the solution. Here's a clear, straightforward framework you can use to get this under control and turn it into a strategic advantage. It's a 5-step loop, and it's all about being proactive, not reactive. Step 1, you have to establish governance. Who's in charge? What are the rules? Step 2, you implement core processes to actually track everything. Step 3 is where the magic happens. You optimize, you cut the waste. Then you sustain and evolve your system, and you do that with Step 5, regular reviews. This is how you turn this whole thing from a constant headache into a real strategic asset. And as you're doing this, here are a few classic mistakes you absolutely want to avoid. You see these all the time. First, don't just delegate this and forget about it. You need oversight. Second, never, ever underestimate the risk of an audit. Third, stop focusing only on the sticker price. You have to look at the total cost. And finally, please, have a plan for renewals and for how you'll get out of a contract if you need to. And that brings us to maybe the most important mindset shift of all. License management isn't a buy it and forget it kind of thing. It is a full life cycle. It's continuous. It starts way before you buy anything with assessing what you actually need. It includes negotiating the deal, tracking the deployment, monitoring the usage, and then making smart, data-driven decisions when it's time to renew or retire the software. Every stage needs attention. So I want to leave you with a question, a really important one to take back to your office tomorrow. When you look at your company's software portfolio, what do you see? Is it a strategic asset that's actively driving value? Or is it just an unmanaged financial risk, a ticking time bomb waiting to go off? Honestly, the answer to that question changes everything. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.